Welcome to this episode of Women Powering Ecommerce. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday as I take you behind the scenes of my journey as a female e-commerce entrepreneur. Together, we'll explore the highs, the lows, inspiring you to take action and achieve your own business goals. So let's get started. There's something I really wanted to address, and that topic is about dropshipping. Lately, I asked myself, is this actually still a thing? And it's been so long ago that I was in that environment. And the answer is yes, definitely. Dropshipping is still a thing. And though the dropshipping landscape definitely evolved over the years. And today I just want to talk to you about my experience with dropshipping. That was a while back and why I decided to quit dropshipping. I just decided it was not a business model for me. So let's dive in. So not everyone that knows me knows this, but before this current e-commerce store I currently have and started about 10 years ago, back in 2011 or 2012, I had actually launched an e-commerce store prior to that. Yes. Am I proud of that store? Not 100%, but it was definitely a great school. So it was called Suzie and Bags. I had zero knowledge in e-commerce. So for me, it was a great way to learn the ropes of e-commerce. So I decided to open up an e-commerce store to sell mostly handbags. And you have to understand though, and that I'm very proud of. I had no experience with internet almost. I basically didn't even know how to open up like a tab. So I was really coming from very far. So to have actually done that, it was great. It was great. So I would not go back to that probably today, but for what I learned from it, it was wonderful. I actually at the time found two suppliers that were doing nice quality leather handbags, and one supplier was in the US and the other one was in Italy. And the reason why I chose them is that they also accepted to do drop shipping. I told myself that this was going to be the easiest, simplest, and best way of doing e-commerce, at least to start, just because you don't have to handle all of receiving inventory, managing it, shipping out products. So I kind of removed that out of the equation while I could concentrate on just doing the e-commerce part, about like the website part. So I was actually really excited about this, and I had a few samples shipped to my place. I tested out the product. I was very happy with both suppliers, and then that's when I decided to open up my store. Theoretically, it sounded like a great business model for me when I first started, but eventually I realized there were some gaps and holes with it. I mean, every business model probably does have gaps and holes, which is totally fine and normal. But at that point, those gaps were actually getting wider and wider. And I was actually asking myself, can I deal with those issues? And so you might wonder, what were those struggles? So there are a number of struggles I was dealing with due to drop shipping. And I felt like I didn't want to handle those anymore, or at least find a solution to them. And the solution was not in drop shipping. I had to change business models completely. So you might wonder what those issues were. So I found four. I found four major gaps and holes in that business model, which was in the end the reason why I decided to stop and quit drop shipping. So number one is saturation. And what I mean by that is, due to the low entry barrier, many entrepreneurs have entered the dropshipping business for the exact same reasons as I did, because I had no experience. I thought it was just going to be so much simpler to have the supplier ship directly to the customer. But what happens is that everyone who enters the e-commerce space like that, this leads to a saturated market in some niches. For example, handbags. So maybe I should have chosen another product or niche. Maybe I could have made it successful for all kinds of reasons, But this is my journey. Those were the decisions I made, and they brought me to where I am today. So I'm very happy, very content with everything that happened. So number 2 is return policies. If you don't have your hands on your inventory, you definitely do not have your hands on returns. And you can have the things like shipped back to you. But I mean, handling returns, especially when dealing with international suppliers, can be very complex. So, I mean, just one question, where should your customers return their product to? Do they return it to the supplier? Our suppliers did not take back any product. Was I going to stock up on returns? What would I have done with them? I could have probably maybe resold them on sale, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that concept. So that was definitely a big issue. Another thing is customizing and branding. So branding and custom product offerings are limited. You can also run the risk that a customer will find your product on another website, which personally I was not a fan of, especially when it comes to fashion and apparel. Usually you want to have something that's customized and which will reflect the brand you want to convey, but it becomes a little harder with drop shipping. Though I know if you want to get some products made in China, they can actually add your logo, customize it for you. I mean, that's a whole other game. The last point is supplier reliability. And I would say that's the number one and main reason why I stopped doing drop shipping. What happened in my case is that sometimes the product was not always, the quality of the product was not always the same. So I had sometimes sent to a customer without knowing it, a poor quality product. It happened, like a bad batch or something. You have no control over that. Sometimes shipping times are very long, much longer than other times. So that, again, you don't have much control over. So if you have an unreliable supplier, that can definitely harm your own business, its reputation. I was not at a point where I feel like it had harmed my reputation at all, but I could see it possibly coming. Or the other solution I could have found solutions. To be honest, there is always a way, but it would have brought me to try and find other suppliers, other drop shippers. So I don't know. I didn't feel like really going to that game for, in the end, the results it would provide me. So I just decided not to go down that route and choose something else that would fit my values a little bit more. So this is what I found the most challenging. So when a customer complained about a product or shipping, I felt limited in my options to help that customer. I felt that it just didn't align with my own values as a business owner. I really, really wanted to make sure I had control over, as much as possible, over what my customer received in the end. So drop shipping is definitely not dead. I mean, you could still do it if you want. I mean, several businesses are doing it and they're doing it successfully. At the beginning, I asked myself this question: can I deal with the drop shipping issues? Some might say yes, and that's totally fine. But my answer is no. I value control over my product, the shipping times as much as possible. I want to make sure my supplier is as reliable as possible. So I found that there was more benefits in not doing drop shipping than doing it. So I hope that helped you, enlighten you, and take a moment to rate, share, subscribe to the podcast if you like what you heard today. And I definitely value your support to help other women in business as well. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. I hope you gained valuable insights and inspiration today to keep growing and taking action towards your goals. Please follow me on social media and remember to like, share, and comment this video. Subscribe to get notifications every time a new video is uploaded. See you next time.